Hey guys, in this video I'll show you how to find anyone's email simply from their LinkedIn URL, and specifically in order for you to be able to execute this workflow you would need three main tools which you can see on the screen right now. First of all, you would need access to a clay.com account. Secondly, you would need to have access to Anthropic API, and this is only necessary if you're looking to basically run huge volumes of leads through this entire workflow. And then thirdly, you would need an email finder inside of clay.com. And I personally recommend ICPs because I can plug you the link with 3,000 free email finder credits inside of ICPs. So if you want to get that, all you need to do is just go into the link in the description and you'll get access to this guide with all the prompts and everything that I'm about to show you, so you can copy and paste this approach even faster. Now, without further ado, the two bits of input data that you would need in order for this workflow to actually work out well for you is the full name of the person and the LinkedIn URL. Also, I'll show you a way of how you can just leverage this workflow using just a LinkedIn URL on its own. So don't worry if you don't have their full name as well. Now, having said all that, let's just follow the all I want you to do is follow the instructions from this video step by step. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside of LinkedIn and I'm going to export all of my first degree connections. The way I will do that is by navigating to the settings and privacy tab that you can see right in front of you on my screen right now. You will then click on data privacy. And inside of data privacy, you would see something which says get a copy of your data. When you click on that, you should be able to see the connections and you can request the archive, which will be emailed to you. And the email will contain a CSV file like this, which you can seamlessly import inside of Clay. So what I will do here is I will basically just make sure that these are column headings. So I'll delete the first three rows and I will export this. So I'll download it as a CSV file. And straight away, I'm going to go inside of Clay, click on Create New Workbook, Blank Workbook, and you would see an option to import from CSV. At that moment in time, we're going to drag and drop the file that we've just talked about. And specifically, this could take quite a while to load because luckily I have quite a lot of connections. So let's wait for that to load in the background. As soon as the file has loaded, you will click on Complete Import. And at that moment in time, we will see quite a lot of data come in. So specifically, we'll see the first name, last name, the URL, and all of that stuff. Not to get overwhelmed, I will click on Hide All Columns, and the only columns that I would not hide will be the first name, last name, and most likely the URL, which is basically the LinkedIn URL of the person, right? So I will personally rename this column to LinkedIn URL just to not forget it. So let's just do that quickly. So you'll do that by clicking on Edit Column, and you will basically rename the column here. So let's do that quickly. This stage as well, that right now you can see that it's selected as a text icon, which is not the right data format. So you would need to scroll down and select it's a URL just so that it basically reformats the data to a URL to make it more compatible inside of Clay. So that's just a little life hack if you wanted to find one for this. Now, in order for us to find the email address of anyone, you would need the full name of the person, and also you would need the company where they work, so the company domain, for example, coca-cola.com. The way you would do that is by finding the company where they work, and we will basically scrape the LinkedIn profile to get the company website. And the way we'll do that is by clicking on Add Enrichment in the top right-hand corner. We'll type in Clayagent, which is Clay's tool to research websites and to scrape websites. In the top right corner, you will change the model to be Anthropic 3.5, so Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And at this moment in time, I would say that you can basically add your own API key here. And once again, if you're interested in how to do that, the link will be in the description to this video, wherever you're watching it. And I will explain here how to basically connect your external API key here so that you can basically, so this can cost you a fraction of the Clay credits that you would spend inside of Clay otherwise. Now, what you would do here is copy and paste the prompt, which once again, you can find inside of the guide. So another reason to opt into that. And you're basically going to copy and paste this prompt inside of here. And if we just read the prompt, it's basically saying, go grab the domain of the website where the person works full-time right now. And all we need to put in is the LinkedIn URL. So we'll basically click on / and then we will select the LinkedIn URL here. At that moment in time, we'll click on Save and Don't Run. The reason we click on Don't Run is because we don't want to waste a bunch of credits. So let's just run 5 rows. And the way you will do that is by clicking on this play icon right in front of you. And you will run 5 rows just to make sure that it's finding the right company domains for these people. So let's just make sure that the output is a company domain. Right now, if we just do a quick manual check, you can basically click on this icon here to take you to the LinkedIn profile of the person. And for example, over here, it says that Florin works at Common Room. So let's click on his profile and go here. and you can see that indeed I know Florin personally. He actually works at Common Room, so we can see that it's scraping the right type of website. Now what we need to do is create a separate little column from the output here. So from this result, we want it to be in a separate column. So the way we'll do that is by just holding on the keypad, and straight away you can see the response and you can add it as a column. So we'll call it company domain. So let's just call it domain, or like website, something like that. Let's call it website. As soon as you have the website, the next step is quite straightforward, because obviously for any email, most emails will follow the format of like tim@commonroom.com, for example, right? But a lot of the time here, the www dot is a bit messy. So what we can do is click on add column, formula, and in this case, we will say get the email domain from, and then we'll select the website column. And once again, whenever you refer to a specific column inside of Clay, you will click on / and then you will select the column that you're referring to. So in this case, the website. At this moment in time, you will click on generate formula, and oops, let's see, plays up, and you basically have to reload the same prompt and they will finally come up with it. So straight away over here, it basically generated the domain. And at this moment in time, we can see over here that all we need to do is click on output is correct, say formula, and we will call this the email domain, right? So let's call that email domain. So once again, you will just basically click on the column and you will rename it over here. Here's the super straightforward step. So now that we have hopefully we have the full name of the person here. So we have the first name and the last name. And then we basically just need that and the email domain to actually guess their email. And for that, in the input, and I'll explain in a minute why this is important, we need to basically combine the first name and the last name together. So the way we'll do that is by clicking on add column, formula, and we'll basically select first name, and then we will select straight away last name. And obviously we'll leave a space in between. So what that will create is their full name, right? And we will use this to then find their email address right later down the line. Now, worth noting here, we have an Israeli flag over here, and we basically, like, once again, this could mess up the email finding process. So I'm going to say, and remove emojis. And once again, as soon as you generate the formula, hopefully right now that flag is, fortunately for us, gone. So yeah, you can see over here, the flag was removed. So let's put outputs correct, say formula, and that leaves us with one final step. And that final step is clicking on add enrichment in the top right corner, typing in find email. And in this case, you have all sorts of different providers. I would always recommend you to connect an external API so you don't burn through credits inside of the platform. And all you have to do, in this case, I'm just going to use Lead Magic because it's super straightforward. I'll select Lead Magic. I will feed the full name of the person. So in this case, it was this emoji removal step. And then finally, we have the email domain. So I'll select the email domain and then continue to add fields. And then what we want is the email address, and we want to make sure that the status is valid, right? That moment in time, we'll click on save and don't run. And the reason we do that once again is so that we can test it out across 5 rows. And then we'll just press play over here. And you should see in the background right now that it should start running the enrichment across all the rows. Now we can see the output over here. So 2 out of 5 people have a verified email that was found over here. And you would see the email in the email column on the right-hand side. All you can then do is basically click on Actions, Export, and Download CSV. And this way you will download the CSV with a verified email address of the person. So you can then basically plug it into whatever email sequencing tool or LinkedIn automation tool that you choose and you use already. Now, if you're already familiar with Clay, you can also, on top of that, click on Add Enrichments and then type in a specific tool. So, for example, you can type in enrich, and straight away you can add them to a LinkedIn automation campaign out of that. Or you can type in something like Smart Lead and add them into an automated email automation like sequence as well. Once again, there are a lot of different options, a lot of different plays that you can do with this. And this is probably the best way that I found in order for you to basically find the email addresses of people that have a LinkedIn account already. So the best part of this as well, worth noting, if you then click on duplicate table, this will surprise you, hopefully. What you will see here is this exact table that we've just created earlier, and this is the same backbone, this is the exact same template, right? So if I just go and select, let's say like 5 rows, so I'll select like 5 other rows, and if I am to import 5 other random people into this table, so imagine like after building it once, You only need to build this clay table once in order for it to work forever going forward. So let me just show you how to use that. So all you would basically do is click on Actions. You'll click on Import. You will click on Import from CSV. You will drag and drop the file that we just created. And straight away, you can add to current table. You can map all of this. So make sure you map these correctly. So in this case, we don't really need the company or the position. All we need is the URL to be the LinkedIn profile. And then we need the first name and the last name, right? So then we'll click on add to table and save and run rows in this CSV. This is the thing that's going to be absolutely mind-blowing for you. So what this is about to show you is that all the steps will be done automatically. So you build this table once, and every single time you can just drag all the files inside. Like drag all the leads here, and straight away it will basically go and scrape their websites. You will find their email addresses and do all of that fun stuff. Now, before I leave you with this template, which you can steal in the description down underneath the video, one thing that's worth noting is this is a messy template as it is right now. I would very much recommend, if you're looking to scale Clay and if you want to use it properly, you would need to basically map out the columns and really call the columns like step 1, step 2, step 3. So let me show you what I mean right now. So I will rename this column to step 1, which is Rather, what I did is I basically mentioned that step 1 is to create the full name, because remember in the input file we just had the first name and the last name, so we needed to make sure that we create a full name so that we can then put it into the email finder later down the line. And then step 2 will be to find the company website. And this is like the OpenAI, the Claygen prompts that we gave to it. And then step 3 is to find the email of the person. So essentially, that's what I mean by creating scalable Clay tables, where it's super clear, and this table can then be completed by a virtual assistant or someone who may not be a native user of Clay, just simply by watching a video like this and following step-by-step instructions inside of a Google document. Now, on top of that, I'll do another video which shows you perhaps a cheaper way of achieving the same outcome of finding the email addresses of first-degree connections, but I only thought about it as I finished recording this video. So if you want to find a more cost-effective way of finding the email addresses, by all means, watch the other video, which will be linked right down below this video. And by all means, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to get like the exact Clay table I've used here, all you need to do is just basically grab the guide in the description down below. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Do comment down below if you want to see any other tutorials when it comes to Clay or anything outbound related, because as you can tell by now, I'm addicted to making these kind of videos on tiny little things that people would find challenging. So I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching this far, hopefully. Cheers.